Okay, so to start off this lesson, we're going to start with finding an angle given a point that you don't recognize from the unit circle. So the first thing you need to do is take the cosine inverse of the first x coordinate. So in this example problem, you would take the cosine inverse of square root 2 over 5. And you should double check it by taking the sine inverse of square root 23 over 5. So once you do both of those, you should come up with the same answer. Okay, so both of these, when you type them in, come out to be 73.6 degrees. So now that you have your angle, in this case, since both of the points are positive, we know that it would be in the first quadrant. So I would add this to the axis before it, which the axis before it is 0. So 0 plus 73.6 is just 73.6 degrees. But let's say hypothetically that the first value was negative instead. Then we would know that our angle would be in the second quadrant. And if it's in the second quadrant, then the value before it is 90 degrees. And so I would do 90 plus 73.6. So depending upon the sign of your point, the first value that you find is going to be your reference angle, and then you just need to add it to whichever value comes before it. So if it's in the third quadrant, then you add it to 180. If it's in the fourth quadrant, then you add it to 270 degrees. The next section is even easier to find a point. All you have to do is, because this is a triangle here, your unit circle should look something like this. And here, the center to the edge would be the radius. And remember, the radius of your unit circle is 1. So all we have to do to find the y coordinate is use Pythagorean theorem and set it equal to 1. So we would have square root 3 over 2 squared plus y squared equals 1. And then we solve. So we have 1 minus 3/4 is equal to y squared. And then the square root of 0.25 is 0.5, so we would have 1/2. Now, most of you probably recognize the square root 3 over 2 as a value from the unit circle that you already know from those core values that you learned in last class. But sometimes the number won't be as straightforward, but it's the same process of using Pythagorean theorem and setting it equal to 1.